these numbers today, are they an endorsement of the government's approach in relation to JobKeeper and so on? Clearly the number has surprised so many analysts.
Yeah, look, we welcome any improvement to the labour market, Kieran, and there's certainly some improvement, and that's a good thing. And I think it is in part largely to do with the support of JobKeeper and JobSeeker, and that's why we'd like the government to maintain that support, because in 10 days, the full-time workers on JobKeeper will lose 20% of that income, and there's 1 million part-time that will lose 50%. And that will mean a lot of money taken out of the economy, which may also impact on employment going forward.
Does it also reflect an economy, in some parts of the nation at least, chugging back to life?
Well, I think clearly where you can lift restrictions, you can see improvements. But it is interesting. I heard the Treasurer sort of attack Queensland and WA. The highest unemployment levels are in South Australia, and look, these states have done very, very well on the health front, and of course our economy is still impacted because there are sectors of the economy that are still very, very impacted. Obviously, aviation, tourism, these sectors have been very hard hit, and of course in Victoria still, and indeed restrictions in other parts of the country, food and accommodation and so on has left a very significant impact. So we do have to deal with the health front, but there needs to be a jobs plan beyond JobKeeper and JobSeeker too. I mean, there are 200,000 fewer Australians looking for work. If they were looking for work now, the unemployment rate would be in excess of 8%. So we can't, and also we've got 3 million plus people subsidised by JobKeeper, which will go in March. So these are the things the government has to consider when they're putting together the budget, because if there needs to be support beyond then. What we'd like to see is no reductions now to JobKeeper in this period, and some jobs plan, infrastructure spend, some fiscal stimulus beyond March is critical. And that's why everyone's waiting to see what will be in the budget, because that's going to make or break our economy.
Well, the Treasurer has reiterated that budget will have a massive jobs focus, but he's right to point out that New South Wales, 6.7%, is better than the national average with its open economy compared to the states that you mentioned. South Australia, 7.9%, closed borders. WA, 7%, closed borders. Queensland, 7.5%, closed borders.
Yeah, and indeed, look, I don't think there's that much difference between them. In fact, as a Victorian, we have difficulty getting into New South Wales, understandably. There are restrictions that way, not coming into Victoria. I think that's just a little bit of partisan play, because the Treasurer did just focus on Queensland and Western Australia. Didn't mention Tasmania, didn't mention South Australia. It's true to say, and also, look, the southeast were doing better economically. I mean, the mining states have gone through a pretty difficult time relative to the boom period that they had. So I think you have to take those sort of factors into account as well. Look, the reality is we can get this right if we outline a jobs plan. If the nation outlines a jobs plan and a fiscal stimulus package, we can recover. But if we don't, the recession will be deeper and it will go longer than it needs to. And that's why we call upon the government not to be cutting the support now, because that will just lead to very, severe hardship for too many Australians and for businesses. That JobKeeper supports businesses, not just workers. And that's why, the reduction in 10 or so days will have some adverse impact, not just on the workers and businesses, but our economy.
Encouraging number away from the jobless rate, and that is the COVID rate in your part of the world, Victoria. Yes. They're dipping below less than 30, and we could see a scenario, couldn't we, where New South Wales and Victoria reopen those borders sooner than Queensland reopens its borders, or WA opens its borders with New South Wales?
Possibly so. I mean, these are decisions that have been left to state premiers. Look, the quicker Victoria recovers, the nation will be better off. And of course, we want to see all borders open when it's safe to do so that our economy can recover fully. We will still have our international borders closed, of course, or very, very restricted, because let's not forget how well we are doing compared to the rest of the world. which of course in Europe are going through that second wave because they opened up too quickly. I just think we need to look at other experiences to see what could happen if we do ease restrictions too quickly. We might find ourselves where Spain and France and the United Kingdom are, where they're now getting thousands of cases each and every day, and they will be closing down hard again, and they're entering winter. It's a very, very sad situation there, as it is in many other parts of the world. So I want to see Victoria open up. I've been confined to my house for such a long time, Kieran. I would like, on a personal level and on a community level and the national interest, I want to see our borders open, but I do understand we have to follow the science and the medical experts, so we do not have to close down again before Christmas. That would be terrible. So the news today, the best figures since 24th of June, has been welcomed, I know, by every Victorian, particularly in metropolitan Melbourne, who are hoping to see restrictions ease so we can get about our normal life.
Yep, indeed. Shadow Employment Minister Brendan O'Connor, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Kieran.